Imagine sending out 1,000 job applications and hearing nothing back. This isn't a dystopian future. It's the reality of job hunting in 2024. LinkedIn's Easy Apply feature has turned the tech job market into a Mad Max-style wasteland, but there's a way out of this chaos. So LinkedIn introduced this Easy Apply thing back in 2011, and it's like, completely transformed how people apply for jobs. It's basically turned the whole process into this spam-like experience where you can just click once and apply to a bunch of jobs. The problem is, everybody's doing it now, and it's created this massive flood of applications. You've got some job postings that are getting over 1,000 applications in just a few days. It's insane. How are employers supposed to find qualified candidates in that mess? It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, except the haystack is the size of Texas. We're gonna look at why this convenience feature is actually destroying your chances of landing a job, and what you can do about it. Because let's face it, the current system isn't working for anyone. So you think applying to jobs is hard? Try being on the other side. Employers are drowning in a tsunami of applications, and most of them aren't even close to what they're looking for. It's like trying to find a specific grain of sand on a beach during a sandstorm. This whole Easy Apply situation reminds me of the early days of email. Remember when email first came out? It was supposed to revolutionize communication, make everything faster and more efficient. And for a while it did. But then what happened? Spam. Suddenly, our inboxes were flooded with junk and finding important messages became a nightmare. Well, the job market in 2024 is going through the same thing. LinkedIn's Easy Apply feature has turned job applications into the new spam. Employers are getting absolutely buried under mountains of resumes, and it's creating this crazy situation where everyone loses. Let's break down the numbers because they're pretty mind-blowing. Some job postings are getting over 1,000 applications in just a few days. Now imagine you're a recruiter or hiring manager trying to sift through all that. It's basically impossible, and here's the kicker. A lot of those applications aren't even from qualified candidates. In fact, research shows that around 80% of applicants might not even meet the basic qualifications for the jobs they're applying to. That's not a typo. 80%. So now you've got this massive pool of applications, and only a tiny fraction are actually worth considering. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, except the haystack is the size of Texas and keeps growing every second. But wait, it gets worse. You know how I mentioned that some of these jobs you're applying to might not even exist? Yeah, that's a thing now. They're called ghost jobs. These are job postings that companies put up but aren't actually actively trying to fill. Maybe they're keeping their options open, maybe they're just testing the market. Whatever the reason, it means that a chunk of the jobs you're spending time applying for aren't even real opportunities. So now we've got this perfect storm. On one side, you've got job seekers desperately clicking Easy Apply on everything they see, hoping something will stick. On the other side, you've got employers drowning in applications, many of which are completely irrelevant, for positions that might not even be open. It's a mess. And you know what this means for you, the qualified candidate who's actually a good fit for the job? Your chances of getting noticed are lower than ever. We're talking less than a 1% chance in many cases. Your carefully crafted resume and all your qualifications are getting lost in this digital tsunami of applications. It's like we've taken all the worst parts of email spam and applied them to the job market. The convenience of Easy Apply has created this situation where quantity has completely overwhelmed quality. Everyone's shooting off applications like they're playing some kind of twisted lottery, hoping that if they just apply to enough places, something will work out. But here's the thing. It's not working. Not for job seekers, and definitely not for employers. The whole system is broken, and it's making the job hunt more frustrating and time-consuming for everyone involved. But let's flip the script for a second. You know who else is having a terrible time? The people doing the hiring. Picture this. You post a job, and within days, you're buried under an avalanche of applications. Sounds great, right? Wrong. Because here's the shocking truth about what's really in that pile. The hiring process has become a nightmare for employers, and it's all thanks to the convenience of Easy Apply. You see, when you make it super simple for people to apply to jobs, you end up with this massive flood of applications. And I'm not talking about a little trickle here. We're looking at thousands of resumes pouring in for a single position. Now, you might think, well, that's good, right? More options for the employer. But here's the thing. It's actually making the hiring process way worse. Because out of all those applications, only a tiny fraction are actually qualified for the job. We're talking about a situation where around 80% of applicants might not even meet the basic qualifications for the positions they're applying to. Imagine you're a recruiter or hiring manager trying to sort through all that. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, except the haystack is the size of a small country and keeps growing every second. You've got to wade through hundreds, sometimes thousands of resumes just to find a handful of candidates who might actually be a good fit. And it's not just about the sheer volume of applications. The quality of these applications is often really low. Because it's so easy to apply, people are just clicking that easy apply button for any job that looks remotely interesting without really reading the requirements or tailoring their application. So you end up with all these generic, one-size-fits-all resumes that don't really tell you anything useful about the candidate. This creates a lose-lose scenario for everyone involved. Employers are wasting tons of time and resources sifting through irrelevant applications. They're getting burnt out, frustrated, and overwhelmed. And on the other side, qualified candidates are getting lost in the shuffle. Their carefully crafted resumes and all their qualifications are disappearing into this digital black hole of applications. The whole system has become hopelessly broken. Employers are struggling to find good candidates in this sea of mediocrity, and job seekers are getting more and more frustrated because they're not hearing back from anyone. It's like we've created this giant game of application roulette where everyone's just throwing their resume out there and hoping for the best. And you know what's really messed up? This system actually benefits the employers in a weird way. Because there's such a huge pool of desperate job seekers, companies don't really have much incentive to improve the candidate experience. They can afford to ghost applicants, drag out the hiring process, or make ridiculous demands because they know there's always more where that came from. So now we've got this perfect storm of a job market. On one side, you've got job seekers desperately spamming out applications to anything that moves. On the other side, you've got employers drowning in a sea of unqualified candidates, unable to find the good ones. And in the middle, you've got this broken system that's making everything worse for everyone. It's clear that something needs to change. The current approach isn't working for anyone. Not for job seekers, not for employers, and definitely not for the economy as a whole. We need to find a way to make the job application process more meaningful, more targeted, and more effective for everyone involved. So how do we fix this broken system? What if I told you the solution isn't to make job hunting easier, but harder? It sounds counterintuitive, but putting in more effort could actually be your ticket to success in this oversaturated market. The truth is, the convenience of Easy Apply has become a trap. It's like everybody's playing this giant game of job application roulette, hoping that if they just apply to enough places, something will stick. But here's the thing, it's not working. And it's not just not working for you, it's not working for employers either. So what's the solution? Well, it might surprise you, but the answer is to make the application process more manual. Yeah, you heard that right. We need to go back to putting in more effort to demonstrate our qualifications. It's like, you know how when you're in school and you have to write an essay by hand instead of just copy-pasting from the internet? It's kind of like that. The physical work you put in makes you think more about what you're doing, and it shows. Now, I'm not saying you should start mailing in handwritten resumes or anything crazy like that, but what you should do is avoid that Easy Apply button, like it's the plague. Instead, go directly to company websites and apply there. And here's the kicker, tailor your resume and cover letter for each specific position. I know, it sounds like a lot of work, but think about it. Most people aren't doing it, and in a job market where everyone's just spamming out generic applications, being the one person who actually puts in the effort can make a huge difference. But it's not just about how you apply. It's also about who you know. Networking and seeking referrals can significantly improve your chances of landing interviews. It's like, you know how they say it's not what you know, it's who you know? Well, in 2024, it's both. You need the skills, but you also need the connections. Personal connections often lead to better opportunities than mass applications. And let's talk about LinkedIn for a second. A lot of people think of it as just this place to click Easy Apply and hope for the best. But that's missing the point entirely. LinkedIn should be a tool for marketing yourself effectively. It's about building a personal brand, not just clicking buttons. Think of it like this. The physical work that you do in your day-to-day job is only 50% of your actual career. The other 50% is marketing and networking yourself. And LinkedIn is a huge part of that. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how am I supposed to stand out in such a crowded market? Well, here's a pro tip. Specialize. Find a niche area in your field and become an expert in it. It's like if you're a chef, don't just be a general cook. Be the best damn sushi chef in your city. Or if you're in tech, don't just be a general programmer. Be the go-to person for a specific language or framework. When you specialize, you become more appealing to potential employers who are looking for that specific skill set. And here's something that might blow your mind. Most people aren't doing any of this. They're not customizing their resumes for each job. They're not networking effectively. They're not building a personal brand. They're just clicking Easy Apply and hoping for the best. But by putting in more effort and being strategic, you can stand out in that sea of generic applications and significantly increase your chances of success. So, here's the deal. We've got this job market that's completely messed up because of easy apply, right? But there's a way out. It's not about making things easier, it's about putting in more effort. Yeah, I know, sounds crazy, but think about it. When everyone's taking the easy route, doing things the hard way might actually be your ticket to success. Instead of just clicking buttons, start treating your job search like a marketing campaign. You're not just looking for a job, you're selling yourself as a professional. Tailor your applications, network like crazy, and become an expert in your niche. It's more work, sure, but it's how you stand out in this crowded market. Remember, in a world where everyone's taking the easy way out, the hard way might just be your path to success. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button and check out our recent video on the 40-year-old secret to conquering your 20s. It's got some game-changing advice you won't want to miss.